If you're looking at moving to Idaho, a lot of people get overwhelmed with the whole idea of the actual logistics of making the move here from another state to Idaho. They then get so overwhelmed with the complexity of it that they just decide it's not worth it. However, I moved here with my wife and my kids from San Diego, and I have worked with people that are moving here who are retired, empty nesters, families with kids, and folks with pets. And I've helped them walk through all the steps to actually make the move here. And by going through the process myself and helping these people relocate here to Idaho, I've been able to find a process that's super straightforward, and it's a process that anyone can follow to make the move here to Idaho. Many people need to sell a home before they move here, and the timelines of either working with a builder or buying a resale home can get complicated. I frequently get the following questions, and in this video, I'm going to answer them, including how long does the building process take? Can I buy a home remotely? Are contingent offers accepted by builders or homeowners? What kind of earnest money deposits am I going to need? Do I need to get a new construction loan if buying new construction? What kind of incentives can I get from a builder? Do I need to sell my house first and then buy a home? Where do I stay if I need to move before my home is completed? And what if I have children or dogs? Should I hire movers or should I do it myself? Can Curtis or his team represent me on a new construction purchase? And how much does moving actually cost? Should I bring my two-wheel drive car with me? And where do I store my stuff? Isn't that expensive? This video is intended to make this the most practical guide ever for all things moving to Idaho. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share my exact 7-step process for working with me and making the move here to Idaho. Let's dive into specific questions we're covering in this video. First up is how long does it take to actually build a home here in the Treasure Valley? When I'm recording this video at the end of 2023, most of the builders are quoting between 6 to 9 months to fully build a home. It's going to depend on the specific builder that you end up choosing, and most of the builders are trying to quote a little bit over on the length of time, because the worst thing that they could do is quote you, say, 5 months, and then it ends up taking 8 months and you weren't expecting that. So again, 6 to 9 months. Hayden Homes right now is quoting about 6 months. Boise Hunter Homes is quoting about 6-7 months. Tresidio, Toll Brothers, Hubble, they're all around the 8 or 9 month time frame, but that time frame can get pulled in a little bit. Now, when I say build a home, what I mean is you are contracting with that builder, you're selecting the lot in the subdivision you want to build on, you select your floor plan, then you go into the showroom and select all the upgrades you want. Once we have all that together, we have your purchase price, then that goes into permitting. That takes a bit of time. That's kind of the big unknown and big variable. And then the home actually goes into construction, the foundations get dug, it gets poured, and that process kicks off. That's when you know more realistically when exactly your home is going to be completed. So you need to factor that into your timeline when you're moving. If you want to be here in 4 months, but you want to build a home, you have to factor in realistically probably 6 to 9 months. Now, however, a lot of builders do have spec homes that they can sell you. Spec homes are homes that they have selected everything. They've selected the floor plan, the lot, all the upgrades, and you simply go and purchase that home. That home could be completed now, or it could be completed in the next 1 to 6 months, depending on the time frame of that builder. So that's when you have a much more fixed date for sure. You just don't get to select everything that you would like in the home. Now, again, depending on the builder and when you contract on that home, you actually still may have some say over the design selections. Not every builder, for instance, Hubble, CBH, Hayden, if they've already started on that home, you're really not going to have the flexibility to select any of your upgrades. However, if you're building with a builder like Tresidio or Toll Brothers, for instance, if you get in before they framed the home, or maybe they've even maybe framed it, you might be able to get in for design selections and get that changed. It's just going to depend on what we can negotiate for you. So again, we just need to factor this in. You basically need to back up when you want to move here, generally by 6 to 9 months, depending on the builder, to make sure that we close on time for you. But if your timeline is shorter, say 3 to 6 months, then purchasing a spec home could be a really great way to go. All right, let's move on to the next question, which is if I'm buying a resale home, when should I start looking for a home? So a resale home, that's an existing home. A homeowner lives in it, they're selling it off, and you're purchasing direct from that homeowner. Of course, I'd represent you on that. And those are homes that are currently on the market, so they're ready to be sold. So if you're ready to go and you want to buy a resale home, basically you can start looking as soon as you're ready to move. Now, there might be a little bit of time you need to work out in terms of with the seller. Do they need a rent back? Do you need some time to make the move? And also keep in mind that the standard escrow is about 30 days. So I would recommend looking about 45 to 90 days before you're looking to move, actually want to be here in Idaho, to start looking for that resale home. Realistically, about 45 to 60 days, that's about the right sweet spot to find a resale home so you can actually get here on the date you want to move here. Let's move on to the next question, which is a big question I get a lot, and that is, are contingent offers accepted by builders and by homeowners? And by contingent offers, I mean, is an offer going to be accepted contingent on you selling your existing home? So generally speaking, no, you are not going to get a true contingent offer accepted by a builder. I'm going to touch on in a second whether that's the case for homeowners in existing resale scenarios. But for builders, here's what they're going to tell you. They're going to say, yeah, we'll accept a contingent offer, but it's really not contingent because they're going to require a non-refundable earnest money deposit to be deposited once you sign the contract. Within 3 business days, you have to wire in the earnest money deposit. I'll touch on exactly what those look like in a second. And that is going to be non-refundable whether or not you sell your home. A true contingent offer, contingent on selling your home, would mean that if you are unable to sell your home, you actually get your earnest money deposit back. However, for the most part, all the builders will require a non-refundable earnest money deposit. So if you don't sell the home, they're not going to make you buy the home, but you will lose your earnest money deposit. Let's look at some of those earnest money deposits. On the builder side, you're going to have anywhere from 1% to 10% of the purchase price be your earnest money deposit. Most builders, if you're buying a spec home, you're going to be in that 1 to 3% earnest money deposit. If you're buying a $700,000 home, you're looking at $7,000 to $21,000 earnest money deposit that you're going to have to put down on that home. Again, it's going to be non-refundable in most circumstances. If you are placing a quote contingent offer, they generally are then going to require a higher earnest money deposit. Now you're looking kind of at the 3 to 10% range. And if you're buying a spec home versus a home that you're building with the builder, so again, a home where you're selecting a lot, choosing all your upgrade options, and then building with that builder, and that's that 9-month process we talked about a minute ago, they're gonna require a little bit more earnest deposit, now pushing in that 5 to 10% range, depending on the builder, again, non-refundable. They're not gonna make you buy the home if you can't sell your home, but you are gonna lose that earnest money deposit. So in the next question I'm gonna answer, we're gonna talk through the timelines of how to work that all out. But I just want you to be very aware, when you come here, don't expect that you're gonna be able to offer a true contingent offer to sell your home. Let's look at homeowners and resale homes. Are you gonna be able to get a contingent offer accepted on a resale home? It's really gonna depend on how strong the market is. As I am recording this video at the moment, the market is relatively soft for resale homes in the Boise and Treasure Valley area. It's overall technically a balanced market, not really favoring sellers or buyers, but honestly, it's favoring buyers overall. So at the moment, you might be able to get contingent offers contingent on the sale of your existing home accepted by a homeowner. It's just gonna depend on that specific situation. In a little bit stronger market favoring sellers, you're pretty much not gonna be able to get that contingency accepted. So let's talk about the timelines of how you would work it out in order to sell your home first and purchase a home here in Idaho, specifically first with a builder. So if you're buying a build home, so again, selecting that lot, building with them, taking that 6 to 9 months process, and maybe you get your quote contingent offer accepted, which is your non-refundable deposit. That's gonna give you time to go and sell your home. Now, depending on where you're moving from, the market could be quite strong. If you're moving from California, overall, the market is still rather strong, and so homes are moving pretty quickly. So you just wanna work the timing out with selling the home to correspond with closing on the home here in Idaho. So if you have 8 months to sell your home, I would recommend waiting probably 4, 5, 6 months at the last minute to sell your home. Probably that 4 or 5 month mark, go ahead and put your home on the market. If you don't have a great real estate agent where you are, I can refer you someone that can work alongside me and with escrow and make all this timing work just perfectly. Just reach out to me and I'll refer you someone. Then that will work out the timing so that you can put your home on the market, market it, and sell your home. Now, if it moves very quickly, then we'll, of course, we'll talk through options on what that would look like in temporary housing situations here in a minute so you don't become homeless. But then you have the assurance that you've sold your home, you have the funds, and you can close on the existing home. I would not wait to the last second to sell your home and hope that the timing works out. Now, there are other things that we can do to make the process super smooth. We'll work with your escrow company when you're selling your home and the escrow company here. They can just wire funds directly. That process is super smooth. Now, if you're buying a resale home, again, this goes back to placing a contingent offer, and is that going to be accepted? Again, most likely it probably won't be accepted. However, let's say that it is. Ideally, you want to have your home already on the market when you're actively searching for a home here, and even more ideal, you want your home to be in escrow with a buyer with a for sure close date, so that helps everything go smooth on this end. It increases the chances of your offer getting accepted by a seller here because they know, hey, your home's on the market, it's in escrow, we know you're probably going to close. Much less risk on the seller side to take that contingent offer. If you have not listed your home and then you're placing contingent offers, the sellers here just don't have a lot of reassurance that A, you're super serious about actually making the move and closing on the home, and they have no idea what the timeline is going to look like for you to actually sell your home. So ideally, you want to have your home on the market and already be in escrow so we know for sure when you're going to close on that home so we can close here in Idaho. Next question up is, can I buy a home virtually or remotely? So absolutely, you can totally buy remotely. I help people all the time with this. I'll go out and do video tours of the house, of the neighborhood for you. I'm your eyes and ears, your nose. I point out anything I might see in the home that might be something visual you need to know about, something you need to hear, like a creaking floor, a weird smell, like a cat smell or something like that. So I am your eyes and ears and nose here, helping you buy remotely. Now, of course, you could also come out, we can tour around, you find the home, and then you complete the transaction remotely from where you're moving from. Either way, it can be fully remote or a hybrid of you in person, find the home, and then completing the purchase remotely. And basically, there is a lot of paperwork you got to sign. That's all done digitally via digital signature. And then there will be, of course, some loan documents and deeds that you'll need to sign before closing. That's all done via mobile notary. So you don't actually have to be here in Idaho to sign all that paperwork. That can be done via mobile notary. It's super easy. We do it all the time. Next question up is, how do I actually make the move to Idaho without becoming homeless? So this goes to if you're renting, but more importantly, if you're selling a home and then closing on a home. And what do you do with that gap period between closing on your home and actually making the move here to Idaho when your home is completed or the escrow process is complete with that existing resale home? So there's a couple of ways we can skin this cat. One, of course, like I said, is trying to time it closer to when you actually close escrow here. But again, you want to have a buffer period because you don't want to go over on selling your home and then trying to close on the home here. So ideally, what you're going to want to do is a couple things. One, you're probably going to want to negotiate a rent back for yourself on the home that you're selling. You can generally negotiate anywhere between 2 weeks to 30 days. That's pretty standard for a rent back in your home. So that allows you to stay in your current home. And that might be a combination of free, no actual cost to you, or it might be a paid rent back, usually covering the mortgage of the buyer that is purchasing your home, or some hybrid of those. So maybe 2 weeks free, 2 weeks paid rent back, but you can get up to 60 days on a rent back if the buyer is purchasing with a loan. If there's a cash purchase, you can technically go longer, but if it's a finance buyer, they cannot go over 60 days of a rent back, or that becomes an investment loan. So don't expect to get over 60 days if your buyer on your home is a financed buyer. So that's gonna give you probably a month, maybe up to 2 months of that leeway period, that buffer time to stay in your home, get packed up, and get yourself moved up here to Idaho. The next option, of course, is going to be Airbnb. That is the number one thing that I see with my clients that move here. I did it myself as well. I stayed in an Airbnb for almost 7 weeks before closing on my home. Now, Airbnb is a fantastic option. You're gonna find a wide range of homes available that you can rent. Some are gonna be smaller, some are gonna be larger. The price ranges are gonna vary quite a bit, but generally speaking, you should be able to get into an Airbnb. It's gonna be relatively affordable. Your utilities are gonna be included in that. You're not gonna have to worry about any maintenance, any landscaping, etc. while you're in that home. And that's gonna provide you a buffer period for quite a bit of time, anywhere from a couple weeks up to several months. And that's gonna be a fully furnished Airbnb. Now, the great thing about this is if you're moving with kids, if you're moving with pets, you can easily search for those options within Airbnb. You simply select the option showing how many adults, how many children, how many pets, and you can find exactly the Airbnbs that you can stay in with that. I have a client that just moved here with a couple larger breed dogs, was able to find an Airbnb, no problem at all, and that helped her transition over into her new home once it closed. Let's dive into a few more new construction specific questions that I get frequently. First one is, can Curtis and the team actually help me buy a new construction home? So I actually specialize in helping people buy a new construction home. I actually really love working with the builders here. So I actually specialize helping people move into new construction homes. I have a background in construction management. I used to build high-rise luxury condos, luxury apartments, and I have my general contractor's license still back in California. Don't have it activated here because I'm focused on real estate, but I have a great knack for working with builders and helping you through the process, through the contracting process. What do you look out for in those contracts? Liquidated damages, these non-refundable deposits, things like that, to really help protect you through the whole process. And then I help work with you through the inspection process. I'm just gonna tell you, a lot of builders really wanna try to avoid having you get an inspection. Some are better about being upfront, being like, yeah, we want an inspection. We want a third party to make sure that everything's good. But some will really discourage it, and they'll do things in the contract like saying, hey, if your inspector goes through the attic and crushes the insulation, we don't warranty it anymore. Or you're gonna delay by a couple weeks if you do an inspection. That's not all exactly true. The important thing is to get inspection. Let me bring in my third-party inspector for it. We find all kinds of things. I found crushed ducts in the attic space. I found mold in crawl spaces. I found loose framing members in the attic. I found stone falling off the exterior of a house before because it was built when it was really cold and the cement didn't cure quite right. These are all things that we can catch for you so that you move into a very high quality home with very few issues, if any, after the fact. So all you got to do is reach out via phone, text, or email. Contact information is below, and we'll jump on a Zoom call. I'm going to share my exact 7-step process of how you can work with me and my team at the end of this video. Next up is, do I have to get a construction loan when purchasing a brand new home? The answer, quite simply, is no. The builder is carrying the construction loan on your behalf. All you have to do is get pre-approved for a traditional mortgage, or of course, if you're paying cash, then you're just simply paying cash, but you get pre-approved for a traditional mortgage. So that would be something like a conventional loan, anywhere from 3% to 20% down payment, an FHA loan, that's a first-time home buyer loan program, 3.5% down payment, or a VA loan where you can put as little as 0% down. And once the home closes, that is when the new mortgage kicks in, your mortgage kicks in, and about 1 month later is when you actually start paying on that mortgage. Mortgages are about 1 month in arrears of actually paying that mortgage. So don't have to worry about getting a construction loan. Those are very difficult to get. Just get it pre-approved for a traditional mortgage, and then you're off to the races. That leads me into the next question, which is, what are the incentives available from the builders? I have a great lender that I typically work with. She works with the builders. She also works with resale homes. She'll get you fully underwritten, fully pre-approved. There's gonna be no issues, no surprises when we get under contract. So we definitely wanna start there. However, there are preferred lenders with each of the builders. So we do wanna take a look at specifically those lenders and what extra incentives you can get when you get a loan through that builder. Obviously, they're making money off you in the long term with interest, so that's why they're willing to give some incentives up front to get you to use either their in-house lender or their preferred lender, because in the long run, they're making more money off of you. But either way, you gotta get a loan, so you might as well take advantage of the incentives up front. So depending on the builder and the time of year and the market, those incentives can shift around. So some of the builders are offering right now different things like a 5.5% fixed rate for 30 years on certain spec homes or move-in ready homes, or interest rate buydowns. So they're giving you credits towards interest rate buydowns. That might be a temporary rate buydown for the first couple years, like a 3-2-1 mortgage, or it might be a permanent rate buydown, or simply just giving you money, credits, to use towards your closing costs. Closing costs are in addition to your down payment. That's gonna be things like prepaid property taxes, HOA, escrow, and title fees that you have to pay up front. These credits will help cover that, so you're coming out of pocket with less money. Now, some of these builders advertise it right on their website, and others don't advertise it very much, but it just depends on what we can negotiate. So again, you might get an interest rate buydown, or you might get a $15,000 to $30,000 credit to use towards interest rate buydowns, closing costs, or design room upgrades. Now we move into the actual logistics of moving here. What do you do? Do you hire a mover? Do you move yourself? Do you get ponds and move it? Do you get a storage unit when you come here? Isn't that expensive? Let's dive in briefly into what that would look like. When I moved here, I had a very detailed spreadsheet looking at all my different options. And ultimately, I chose the cheapest one for me because I was willing to do extra work on my own. I'm young, I can move physically heavy objects, and I had a lot of friends that were helping me. So I chose the cheapest option. For me, the best option was hiring a U-Haul truck as a one-way rental out of Phoenix. So I flew from San Diego to Phoenix, picked up that U-Haul, drove it back to San Diego, loaded that up, and then drove it up to Boise, Idaho all as a one-way rental. That was the cheapest option. Between that, the flights, the extra gas, and the storage, I paid about $3,000. Now, that's about the cheapest. You might be able to do it. There's gonna be a lot of other options. You can hire movers, of course. Now, depending on the mover, you're probably looking around $10,000 to $20,000. They will have options for you to store for you, or it might be a direct move. You can always get a storage unit here as well. I paid for a 10x20 storage unit, $142 per month. Really not bad. It's just a little bit of an inconvenience because you have to go and unload into your storage unit and then load everything back up. Now, when I rented my Airbnb, I made sure I got a 2-car garage because I was gonna be there for a couple months. And a lot of things I want to bring with me. I had kayaks, I had my Peloton bike, I had my weights. I needed to basically live in that house. So I unloaded a lot of stuff into the 2-car garage so I could have fun and do my workouts. And then I loaded all that back up and actually moved into my house. If you are hiring movers, you really want to make sure you go with a reputable mover. Don't hire a broker online. There's a lot of brokers online that will look like they're actually moving for you, but they're not. They're just subcontracting out to movers. They will show up late, if at all, and they will really, really gouge and upcharge you once they actually see how much stuff you have, and they'll go, oh, well, the price we quoted you was this, but it's actually make double the price. If they even show up at all, I really would recommend going with a reputable mover. So I would go with someone like Two Guys in a Truck, Allied Van Lines, Atlas, one of those big guys that is actually doing the moving themselves. Another option too is called U-Pack. This is where they drop off a trailer for you. You load it yourself. You have 3 days to load it up. They charge you by the lineal foot that you actually use it. They then go and drop that off at your new home and you unload it. It can get difficult when you're renting a storage unit because they won't really drop it off at the storage unit. So that can get tricky. So if you're renting a storage unit, you kind of need to do it yourself or hire a mover that will drop it into the storage unit for you. Now, one last point I want to make about moving is basically I would recommend consolidating as much as you can. I sold a lot of things before I moved here just to make the actual move as cheap as possible because you end up spending a lot of money simply to move your stuff. So I sold a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp prior to actually making the move here. So I generated a little bit extra cash. I had to rebuy some things when I got here, but it's very expensive to move things. So the less you can move, the better. I also sold my two-wheel drive car, my wife's two-wheel drive car, before I made the move. I could get a lot more value for that back in San Diego versus up here. For the most part, people really want to have all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicles. So I would recommend, if you have two-wheel drive, sell that off before you get here. Look at buying a new vehicle once you get here. After you close on the home, do not buy it before you close on the home. It will screw up your pre-approval and really mess things up. So after you close, buy an all-wheel drive vehicle if you don't have one already. All right, thanks for hanging in with me to the end. Now that you're here, I want to share with you my 7-step process for making the smooth move here to Idaho. Hopefully all these questions and answers were super valuable for you. That's going to make it so much easier for you to move here. I want to talk about specifically people working with me to make the move here to Idaho. I do help people all the time move here to Idaho. I absolutely love it. I get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you looking to make the move here. So what you need to do first is give me a call, text, or email. Contact information is on the screen and in the description down below. What we'll do is reach out, we'll establish contact, we'll set up a time where I can talk with you, we'll jump on a Zoom call, and we'll figure out exactly what it is that you're looking for here, what your timeline is, and everything that's most important to you, and also answer any specific questions that you might have in making the move here to Idaho. Now, through that process, we're going to determine exactly the type of area that you're going to be most interested in, the types of homes that are going to work for you. And then through that, I'm going to set up a customized search alert for you for existing resale homes or for new construction homes. And I'm going to put together a curated builder recommendation list that's going to match exactly what you're looking for in terms of quality, budget, and the time frame for you. That was numbers 1 and 2. The third thing is going to be signing a buyer's representation agreement. That's just saying that we're going to work together. I'm going to represent you on the purchase of your home here in Idaho. It makes me a fiduciary of you, making sure that I look out for your best interests at all times. So I will send that over to you once we're off the call, and then we can start working together. The fourth thing is getting a pre-approval letter. Now, I will recommend my lender to you. Now, ultimately, if you choose to go through another lender or the builder's lender, whatever it might be, that's fine. But I do work with my lender quite a bit. We do a lot of transactions together, so things move just really, really smooth. We communicate really well. So we'll start there. She will give you a complete underwritten pre-approval, so there's no surprises when you actually go to purchase the home. So we'll start there, get a pre-approval letter so that once you come out here or when I'm doing virtual tours for you, we know exactly how much home you can actually afford. You know your monthly payments, you know your interest rate, and we know what that purchase price can actually be. So we're not looking at homes that are outside of your price range and wasting your time in actually finding the home for you as quickly as possible. And that leads me to step number 5, and that's going to be actually visiting Idaho, looking at homes, or doing virtual tours for you. So you want to plan a trip to come out here, and maybe you're not 100% decided yet that you're wanting to move here. So it might be an exploratory trip for you. I have a whole self-guided tour that I will give you that helps guide you around Idaho, very detailed, all kinds of cool points of interest, but also just how to get around, but the top communities to go to, great restaurants, etc. I'll give that to you to help you as you explore as well. Now, assuming you're ready to purchase, then that's when we can start looking at homes together, or I can do virtual tours for you. Again, as I mentioned, I'm your eyes and ears for you. I go in depth in the home tours for you and telling you everything that I see positively and negatively about the home. Step number 6, this is getting exciting. We've looked at homes together. You're ready to buy. We're going to negotiate the purchase contract with the seller or with the builder, get you the best terms possible, establish those timelines so you know exactly how to make the move here and when you need to make all those decisions we talked about earlier in the video, and start that construction process or that escrow process with that existing resale. And then number 7 is simply guiding you through the process, getting those inspections done near the end, and guiding you to a smooth close and actually getting you here into your new home here in Idaho. So that's a complete overview of everything you need to know about moving to Idaho. It's all the questions that I typically get about making a smooth move here. So just reach out to me, whether you're 9 days, 90 days, or even 2 years out. I have people all the time looking to move basically tomorrow or looking to move in a couple years. I love talking with you and establishing that time frame with you. If you are looking to explore more about Boise, Idaho, and you want to dive into more videos that I offer on this channel, just check out this video right here. We dive into detail on that. I'll see you on the next video.